Lynn, should I go ahead and start the meeting?
Yes, I think so. It's 6:01.
Okay, this is Commissioner Irby filling in as chair. I'm going to go ahead and call us to order. Avery or Lynn, do you want to do your spiel before we get started?
Yes, thank you. Okay, good evening and welcome to the October 21st, 2021 Historic Resources Commission meeting. My name is Avery Werner and I will be facilitating the Zoom video portion of the meeting tonight. Joining me here in the room is Lynn Braddock-Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. We will work alongside the chair, who is on remote video, to facilitate the meeting proceedings. Tonight's meeting is being recorded and broadcast live on the city's YouTube channel and cable channel 25. During the meeting, when you are not speaking, please mute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon found on the lower left-hand corner of the Zoom menu. This will make it easier for everyone to hear the meeting. Just remember to unmute if and when you want to speak. If you are participating by phone, you can enter *6 to mute and unmute your phone. When you are not participating during the meeting, please also turn your video camera off by clicking the video icon down next to the microphone icon in the lower left-hand corner of the Zoom menu. This will allow the active meeting participants to be seen on screen. When you are participating in the meeting, please keep your video on. Commissioners must state your name and title each time you speak. Members of city staff must also state their name and title each time they speak. We also ask that applicants and members of the public state their names each time before they speak to ensure that everyone is able to follow along. When public comment is sought on an item, individuals participating via Zoom should use the raise your hand feature. Windows and Mac users can access this feature through the participants button at the bottom of their screen. Android and iPhone users can access this feature through the More button located at the bottom right corner of their screen. For those calling in by phone, you may dial *9. Individuals will be called upon by name in the order they appear on the meeting host screen. When you are called on, please unmute yourself and state your name before speaking. The chair will then call for in-person public comment for those who are physically present. All motions will need to be stated clearly. After a motion is made and seconded, the chair will call on each commissioner individually to provide their vote. The chair will then announce whether the motion carried and then the count of the vote. Again, please remember to mute yourself when you are not speaking. And with that, I'll turn the meeting back over to the chair.
Commissioner Irby, thank you, Avery. So first on the agenda, we have several communications to receive. Lynn, would you like to go over these?
Commissioner Irby, this is Avery Turner, planning staff. Commissioner Myers has now joined the meeting, it looks like.
Oh, great. Commissioner Meyer, I happily turn things over to you.
I'm Braddock-Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. We do have several communications in your packet this evening. Two of them are National Register nominations, notifications, because we are a certified local government. Typically, I hope you had a chance to read the nominations. There's some really good information in there. Typically, the commission has directed staff to draft a letter of support if you believe that the nominations are worthy of being listed in the National Register. That letter of support is sent to the Historic Sites Board of Review when they consider the nomination at their meeting. You also have an email and letter from the Pinckney Neighborhood Association. If you've been following along, you may know that Pinckney neighborhood has changed their name. It no longer has the, it's spelled differently, and that information is in your packet as well. The reason they changed their name, their letter to this commission. There's also a letter in there this for item number 2 under public hearing items this evening for 816 Rhode Island Street from the Lawrence Preservation Alliance. Do you have any questions about any of the communications?
This is Commissioner Meyer. Lynn, I didn't know if we had taken roll yet.
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. No, we did not. Now would be a good time to do that.
This is Commissioner Meyer. Okay, I'll go ahead and take roll. Commissioner Irby.
Commissioner Irby here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. Commissioner Johnson will be joining us at a later date.
Okay. Commissioner Meyer is here, obviously. Commissioner Ezell.
Commissioner Ezell here.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Hawley.
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. Commissioner Hawley cannot be at the meeting this evening.
Okay. All right, this is Commissioner Meyer again. Thank you. Lynn, do we need to, I guess you just went through the communications that we had. Do we need to take votes on taking action on those items?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. If you would like to direct staff to draft letters of support for the National Register nominations, then that is something that you would vote on. You should vote on them individually.
Okay, this is Commissioner Meyer again. Thank you. Well, I would make a motion that when that you draft a letter of support for the Kelly Stone building. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Since there's a motion and a second, we'll take a vote. Commissioner Irby.
Commissioner Irby, aye.
Commissioner Ezell.
Commissioner Ezell, aye.
Commissioner Young.
Commissioner Buchanan Young, aye.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
And Commissioner Meyer is a yes. So that motion carries 5-0. I will then move that staff write a letter of support for the Price Oregon California Trail. Is there a second?
Yes. Second.
So there's a motion and a second. We'll take roll call vote. Commissioner Irby.
Aye.
Commissioner Ezell.
Commissioner Ezell, aye.
Commissioner Buchanan Young.
Commissioner Buchanan Young, aye.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
And Commissioner Meyer is a yes, so that motion carries 5-0. And when that was all as far as the letter of support, is that correct?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. Yes, that's all.
All right, Commissioner Meyer again, thank you. Is there a disclosure of any ex parte communications by board members tonight? Okay, I hear none. Is there a declaration of abstentions for specific agenda items by commissioners tonight? Okay, I hear none. Next item is, are there any committee reports?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. We have no committee reports this evening.
Okay, Commissioner Meyer again. Then we will move on to the consent agenda. There are a number of action summaries for approval. I guess I don't know that there's any public comment on this item. Is there?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. There's no public comment on this item.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Foster. Maybe a question for Lynn. Do we have to parcel this out based on who was in attendance at which meetings? Or can we just do the whole consent agenda?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator, the whole consent agenda or just the action summary portion?
Well, I was thinking the action summary portion because traditionally we wouldn't move to approve or participate in approving meeting summaries that we weren't in attendance at, but if they're all packaged in one big consent agenda, can we just do it in one fell swoop?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. If there's a meeting that you were not in attendance, then you would need to pull that meeting for separate vote.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Foster. I was not at the September meeting, so we'll have to slow down.
This is Commissioner Buchanan. I was not at the first September meeting.
So this is Commissioner Foster. Since I was at the August meeting, I will move that we approve the meeting summary for the August 26th HRC meeting.
All right, I will second that. This is Commissioner Meyer. Since there is a motion and a second, we'll take a vote. Commissioner Irby.
Commissioner Irby, aye.
Commissioner Ezell.
Commissioner Ezell, aye.
I think Commissioner Buchanan Young, you said you were abstaining, is that right? Yes. Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
And Commissioner Meyer is a yes, so that motion carries 4-0. Sorry, I just got off my agenda here. I will make a motion that we approve the September 16th action summary. Is there a second?
Commissioner Irby, second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. We'll take roll call vote. Commissioner Irby.
Aye.
Commissioner Ezell.
Aye.
Commissioner Buchanan Young.
Abstain.
And Commissioner Foster.
Abstain.
And well, Commissioner Meyer is an aye, but that, I mean, that's 3-0.
This is Commissioner Foster. I will move that we affirm the administrative approvals.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second that. Since there's a motion and a second, we'll take roll call vote. Commissioner Irby.
Commissioner Irby, aye.
Commissioner Ezell.
Commissioner Ezell, aye.
Commissioner Buchanan Young.
Aye.
Commissioner Foster.
Yes.
And Commissioner Meyer is also a yes. So the design review applications are approved 5-0. Okay, we will move on then to general public comment. Lynn, is there any general public comment this evening?
Yeah, this is Avery Kerner, planning staff. There are,
Avery.
no, you're fine. There are no hands raised digitally, and there is no one present in the room for public comment.
Okay, this is Commissioner Meyer. Seeing as there does not appear to be any public comment, we will now move on to our public hearing items. First one is DR 21-270 and DR 21-256, 1733 Massachusetts Street.
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. This is an application for demolition and new construction. It is a certificate of appropriateness because the property is located in the environs of the Eugene F. Goodrich House, which is located at 1711 Massachusetts Street. This is the project location. You'll see toward the bottom of the screen in the light blue highlighted area is the project site. To the north of that at 1711 is the Goodrich House.
And you'll notice on this screen to the east of the subject property is the parking lot for Dillon's, with the Dillon's building a little bit to the south of that. This applicant is requesting to demolish the existing structures located at 1733 Massachusetts Street and construct a new multi-dwelling residential structure on the lot. The new structure would be 2 stories tall and would be 11,098 square feet with a building footprint of 7,579 square feet. The primary building materials would include fiber cement, vertical, horizontal, and panel siding, and manufactured stone, and would have Fibrex windows. This on your screen is showing the primary structure to be demolished, the main elevation. Okay. The gas canopy that would be demolished. This is the south and the west side of the structure. Okay. And then, I'm sorry, that was the north. This is the south and west side of the structure. This is the site plan for the proposed structure. If you'll notice, it's a little difficult to see, I know on the screen, but there in the center of the 2-story building, there's a recess that's discussed in the staff report. So there's not a straight building facade. There is some relief in that overall facade. Okay. This is showing what will be the east elevation of the structure and the west elevation of the structure on the bottom. You'll notice on the east elevation that the mass is being broken up by dividing the building into sections. As I mentioned, that center section will be recessed beyond the front building plane. And then the west elevation is very simple, but it does have garage doors. This is showing the north and the south elevation with the fenestration pattern shown on each one. The existing structures located on the site are not historic, and they do not contribute to the historic character of the environs. The proposed structure is large when compared to the Goodrich House, but is within the range of structures located in the environs. The large mass of the structure would be broken into vertical divisions that would help to mitigate the overall size, scale, and mass of the structure. Staff is of the opinion that the project as proposed will not encroach on, damage, or destroy the landmark or its environs, and recommends approval of the certificate of appropriateness. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions you might have.
Okay, this is Chair Meyer again. Is the applicant present, or does the applicant wish to say anything else?
Paul Werner, Architects. I really don't have a lot. Appreciate Lynn's work and the report, and I do like. I appreciate you pointing out that the east elevation doesn't read very well, and it appears flatter in the 2D elevation than it really does in the site plan. So I appreciate that you pointed that out. You know, it's a shallow lot. It's only 125 feet deep. And we really wanted to stay with just a 2-story building. So that's probably why it takes up most of the site. But we thought that was more important than going taller. So that's really all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions, but look forward to your support and hope to get this one under construction soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is Chair Meyer again. Lynn, or Avery, is there any public comment on this item?
Avery Kerner, planning staff. No, there are no digital hands raised, and there is nobody physically present in the room for public comment.
Okay, Chair Meyer, we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion then. Or a motion.
No, if no discussion, this is Commissioner Foster. I'll be happy make a motion in support as soon as I find it. I will move that we find the proposed project will not significantly encroach on, damage, or destroy the landmarks or their environs, and issue the certificate of appropriateness for the proposed project.
Commissioner Irby.
Okay.
Okay, this is Commissioner Meyer. There's been a motion and a second, so we'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Irby?
Aye.
Commissioner Ezell?
Aye.
Commissioner Buchanan Young?
Buchanan Young, aye.
Aye, okay. Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
And Commissioner Meyer is a yes, so the motion passes 5-0. Good luck on the project. I think that may be the fastest project you've ever had before the commission.
Awesome. Well done. Thank you very much.
Paul.
Thank you.
Okay. This is Commissioner Meyer again. We will move on to the second public hearing item on the agenda, DR 21-326, which is 816 Rhode Island.
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. This is 816 Rhode Island Street. It's a state law review because the property is listed as a contributing structure to the North Rhode Island Street Historic Residential District listed in the National Register of Historic Places. This is showing the project site. You'll see it outlined in the middle. The red is the historic district and the project site is in the middle of this screen. The applicant requests to construct an addition to the structure located at 816 Rhode Island Street. The majority of the historic structure would be rehabilitated. The existing rear additions would be removed. The new 945 square foot footprint addition would be connected to the existing historic structure with a hyphen that would house the stairs to the upper floor. The addition would be 2 stories tall directly behind the historic structure with a 1-story section to the south. A shed roof would be used for the 2-story portion of the addition, and a flat roof with a deck would be used for the 1-story portion of the addition. Materials used for the addition include smooth lap siding, vertical metal siding, stucco with reveals, limestone, and Anderson 100 series windows. A new accessory structure is also proposed that would be constructed at a later date. Secretary of the Interior Standards 9 and 10 apply to the project. On your screen, you'll see the primary elevation or the west elevation of the existing historic structure. Just quickly walking around the structure. Some interior photos. You may remember seeing this structure. I believe it was back in June when the applicant was requesting to demolish the structure, and noticed that the interior has been pretty much gutted, but there are some remnants, historic remnants left in the structure. The structure would be rehabilitated to allow for use as part of the overall project. This shows the site plan. The existing structure with the additions removed is on the left side in the gray. The hyphen is directly between that and the large area that's shaded in the yellow. The large area shaded in yellow would be the addition. The centerpiece is the stairway, which is the hyphen that's mentioned in your staff report. And then to the east of the new structure is the proposed garage. This is showing the primary or west elevation of the structure. You see behind the 1-story original structure, there's a little section with a flat roof. That's the hyphen. And then behind that is the 2-story addition with the shed roof. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the 1-story addition with the deck and then a stone chimney. This is showing the south elevation of the structure with the two-story structure on the right, with the stone chimney in the foreground. And then you can see the definition of the hyphen and the glazing panels used in the hyphen. This is showing the rear elevation of the structure. Also notice the glazing pattern in the one-story section that mimics the glazing panels on the front so that you get more of a clear light feeling for that one-story addition. This is showing the north elevation and how that hyphen connects to the two-story portion of the structure. This is a rendering that the applicant supplied showing the view from the street and sidewalk on Rhode Island Street. This is showing a little bit different view. So you can see that two-story structure and the openness of the one-story deck structure. And then a color rendering provided by the applicant. This is the garage. It's a very simple structure with a shed roof. And this just shows the existing structure with the rendering that was provided by the applicant. Overall, the proposed project meets many of the guidelines that are used by the Secretary of the Interior for new additions. The addition would be placed largely to the rear of the historic structure and would be clearly differentiated from the historic structure. The addition would be attached to the historic structure with a hyphen to clearly distinguish the old from the new. The hyphen is compatible with the historic structure. The proposed addition makes it clear what is new and what is historic. Some adjustments in the overall mass, scale, height, and materials would allow the addition to better meet the guidelines in Standard 9. Staff is recommending that the project be referred to the Architectural Review Committee to refine the design to better meet the standards and guidelines while meeting the overall project goals of the applicant. I'd be happy to stand for any questions you might have.
This is Chair Meyer. Lynn, what's the biggest concern in terms of referring it to ARC?
Lynn Braddock-Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. I think it's the height of the two-story addition and how much taller it is over the one-story historic structure. I think the mass probably needs a little bit of work, but I think if you can work on the height, that would take care of the massing issues. I think there are some materials that need to be looked at by the ARC, and then whether or not that chimney and deck are appropriate.
This is Commissioner Foster. I would add roof form as well. I know that some of our recent projects, we had issues with not only when the addition dominates the original structure, but when the roof forms aren't particularly compatible either. We've had some like flat roof things that we declined to approve.
This is Commissioner Meyer. Go ahead.
Lynn Braddock-Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. I was just going to say the applicant is here.
This is Commissioner Meyer, and I was just going to ask that. So does the applicant wish to say anything?
Good evening, Chris Cunningham from CT Design. I am both the applicant and the owner of the project. Pleased to be before you and presenting my project. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be quite as fast as Paul's project. I appreciate the comments and the review, the thoughtful review from Lynn. I understand those comments. I recognize, I guess, the concerns. I think we've got a really great project here. I've already talked to Lynn a little bit about this, and we've made some form changes. I'm happy to go to HRC or to the ARC and review in more detail so that we can come back with a design that I guess addresses those concerns and hopefully meets the needs of the project. You know, we're trying to save this little structure and, you know, I guess give it new life by adding this structure on the backside of it. I'm trying to be very sensitive to what's there and make this, you know, something that we can put back into the community and, you know, hopefully improve the North New Hampshire, or I'm sorry, Rhode Island Street District. So, I'm excited about it. Happy to hear any comments and thoughts beyond that. Thank you.
Chair Meyer, thank you. Lynn, is there any public comment on this item, or Avery?
This is Avery Kerner, planning staff. There are no hands raised via Zoom, and there is no one present in the room for public comment.
Hey, Chair Meyer, all righty then, and we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion.
Excuse me, Chair Meyer, Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. Just want to remind you that you did have a comment letter from the Lawrence Preservation Alliance for this item.
This is Chair Meyer. Thank you, Lynn, for reminding us about that. Any commission discussion on this item?
This is Commissioner Buchanan. As a member of the ARC, and so let me know if I'm speaking out of turn, but I would recommend that this go to the ARC. I think there's some small tweaks that can make a big difference. I know Chris is easy to work with this kind of stuff. And I think we can knock it out of the park with just a few, the list of things that were added earlier of concern, the scale, the height, the roof forms, the massing materials, all of that could be very efficiently addressed in the ARC.
Chair Meyer, thank you, Brenna. Is there, I guess, if no one has significant discussion, do you want to just make a motion, as Lynn recommended, to send it to ARC?
This is Commissioner Foster. Brenda, I'm hoping it's as smooth as you're anticipating. So I'm going to be relying upon you as a fellow committee member to guide us, I suppose. So with that said, yeah, I would be happy to make a motion to refer this to the ARC.
Commissioner Izell, I second.
Okay, this is Chair Meyer. There's a motion and a second, so we'll take a roll call vote. Commissioner Irby?
Commissioner Irby, aye.
And Commissioner Ezell?
Aye.
Commissioner Buchanan Young?
Buchanan Young, aye.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
And Commissioner Meyer is an aye, so that motion carries 5-0. Thank you for your willingness to go to the ARC, and hopefully you can meet soon and come back here maybe next month, and we can approve your project.
Great, thank you. Hoping so.
Thanks.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Okay, this is Commissioner Meyer again. We have run out of public hearing items this evening. Do we have any miscellaneous items?
Lynn Braddock Zollner, Historic Resources Administrator. Staff has no miscellaneous items this evening.
This is Chair Meyer, and I have no miscellaneous items. Does anyone else? All right, you lost your chance. Since we have no miscellaneous items either, I will move that we adjourn for the evening. So, thank you, everyone.